All right, let's talk about critical path analysis. This is a super powerful project management technique, and honestly, it's an absolutely crucial topic if you want to smash your A-level business exams.
Okay, so here's what we're going to cover. We'll start with the basics, get into the nitty-gritty of the calculations, find that all-important critical path, and then we'll wrap up with the high-level evaluation skills you're going to need for those top A-star grades.
So, first things first, before we can jump into any of the numbers, we need to get a really solid grip on what we're actually talking about when we say critical path analysis, or CPA for short.
Okay, so think of CPA as a manager's secret weapon for big, complicated projects. It basically gives them a map. It shows them the absolute shortest time they can possibly finish the project in, and, this is the key part, it highlights the exact tasks that have zero room for delay. Now, to really get CPA, you've got to speak the language. And getting these terms right isn't just about understanding the topic. It's absolutely vital for writing those high-scoring answers in your exam.
Right, this slide is basically your go-to revision summary. So EST and LFT, they're like the bookends for any task. Float is the fun one. That's your wiggle room, your spare time. And the critical path, well, that's the main event. It's the one sequence of tasks where there's absolutely no wiggle room at all.
Okay, let's get into the calculations. This is really the engine room of CPA. We're going to roll up our sleeves and walk through this step by step with a proper worked example.
So we'll be using this case study, Bright Future Ltd. They're launching a new online platform. Now, this table shows every activity, how long it's going to take, and importantly, what has to be done before it can even start. So, for example, you can see activity B can't kick off until A is completely finished. Our first move is called the forward pass. The easiest way to think about this is we're moving from left to right through the project timeline. We start at day 0, and our goal is to figure out the absolute earliest moment each activity can begin. And here are those calculations in action. See? Activity A starts at day 0, takes 4 days, so its earliest finish is day 4. Now that means the earliest that both B and C can start is on day 4. We just keep this chain reaction going. B starts at 4, takes 6 days, and finishes at day 10. And that means D has to wait until day 10 to get started. Now this brings us to a super important rule you have to remember. Take a look at activity F. It needs both D and E to be finished before it can start. Well, D finishes on day 15, but E finishes on day 11. So, can F start on day 11? No way! It's still waiting around for D to be done. So you always have to take the highest number. The EST for F has to be 15. Okay, now we just flip the whole thing around. For the backward pass, we start at the very end of the project, which we now know is day 17, and we work our way backward, from right to left. What this tells us is the absolute latest an activity can finish without delaying the whole project. And here's that backward pass in action. We start with F. It has to finish by day 17. It takes 2 days, so its latest start time is day 15. Now that means both D and E must be finished by day 15. From there, we just keep subtracting the durations, working our way all the way back to the start. Whew! Okay, we've done the heavy lifting with the forward and backward passes. Now for the really cool part, the payoff. We get to use all these numbers to find the single most important path in this entire project. And we do that by calculating something called float. Float is like gold dust to a project manager. It's the buffer, the spare time. And the best part? The formula is incredibly simple. You just take the latest start time and subtract the earliest start time. That's it. So let's look at the float for our project. For activity C, the LST is 8 and the EST is 4. 8 minus 4 gives it a float of 4 days. What does that mean? It means the team working on C could be delayed by 4 whole days, and it wouldn't affect the project's 17-day deadline at all. But then look at A, B, D, and F. Their float is 0. And this is the big takeaway. Any activity that has 0 float is officially on the critical path. These are the activities where the earliest they can start is exactly the same as the latest they can start. There is no slack, no buffer, 0 room for error. So here it is for Bright Future Ltd. The activities with 0 float are A, B, D, and F. And that sequence right there, that is our critical path. This also confirms what we suspected. The minimum time to complete this entire project is 17 days. Okay, but for A-level, just crunching the numbers is never enough to get you those top grades. You have to be able to apply this, to step back, and actually evaluate how useful CPA is in a real business situation. For a really balanced A-star argument, you have to show both sides of the coin. Yeah, CPA is amazing for focusing a team's resources and coordinating things, but on the other hand, its biggest weakness is that it's only as good as the time estimates you put into it. And for a dynamic IT project like this one, well, we all know those estimates can be a bit of a guess, right? And this, right here, is the kind of A-star evaluation sentence that examiners love to see. Why? Because it shows you get the tool's strengths, you see its weaknesses, and you can apply it directly to the case study. It's balanced, it's in context, and it shows real critical judgment.
Which leaves us with one final, critical thought to ponder. We've created this perfect, logical plan on paper, but what happens when that beautiful plan meets the messy, unpredictable chaos of a real-world project? What's the biggest risk a manager is actually taking here?
Thinking about that risk, that's what separates a good student from a truly great one. And that's our deep dive into critical path analysis. If this helped you out and you want more explainers to get you ready to ace your A-level business exams, make sure you follow.